Hey gang, one of the things that frustrated me the most during the first 10 years of my corporate career was the annual performance review. Despite meeting expectations, working hard, and believing I've done everything required, I was always disappointed with my performance assessment. I consistently received an average or slightly above average rating. I had no clear understanding of how it worked, and it felt very opaque to me. Then, by a fortunate turn of events, I was asked to temporarily replace my manager for a few months during the period of the year of the annual review. That gave me a front row seat to understand the process firsthand. And believe me, that was a huge aha moment for me. After that, I embarked on a mission to gather as much internal information as possible about our organization's full review process. But I didn't stop there. I also began asking key people within my industry and ecosystems how performance reviews were conducted in their organizations. From there, I developed my own approach to the annual performance review, and everything changed completely for me. As I mentioned before, I secured multiple promotions, salary raises, bonuses, and was recognized as a high performer and top achievers. Now, I'm going to share with you what I discovered and how you should prepare for your yearly performance review. Denis here. Let's explore together what is possibly the most important training for you. What is annual performance review? Why being prepared is absolutely essential, and how you can make your yearly performance review impactful and transformative for you and your family. For most large organizations, the annual performance review is a formal process where employees receive structured feedback on their performance over the past years. It serves multiple purposes, including assessing your achievements, setting future goals, identifying growth opportunities, and determining compensation adjustments such as your salary increase, bonuses, stocks, options, and promotions. In many organizations, performance evaluations focus on various factors such as results, goal completions, productivity, teamwork, leadership, and innovations. Some reviews may also include discussions about future expectations, professional development objectives. In certain cases, managers will provide constructive feedback to help the employee to improve their skills and overall performance. Additionally, you'll see in some organizations the use of ranking, rating, or scoring system to quantify employee performance. Many organizations incorporate 360-degree feedback, gathering insights from peers, direct report, and leadership to create a more holistic overview and assessment of the employee contributions. In recent years, more companies have shifted toward continuous performance discussion rather than relying solely on once-a-year review. Some organizations conduct quarterly or mid-year review to assess progress and provide a timely feedback to the employee. Additionally, some companies hold mid-year and end-of-year calibration sessions. This is where managers benchmark team performance against one the other to ensure consistency in the evaluations. Ultimately, this process help guide the promotions and compensation decisions, including salary increase, stock allocations, option allocations, bonuses, and pay grade adjustment. Preparing yourself for your annual performance review is essential because it directly impacts your career growth, compensation, and professional recognitions. A well-prepared annual review document and a strategic campaign with the key stakeholders will allow you to highly increase your chance of promotion, recognitions, higher compensations, and position yourself as a top performer. You absolutely need to take a proactive approach to turn your performance review from a routine evaluations into a powerful stepping stone for your recognitions and success. Okay, but how you do this? Let's figure this out together. I propose that you follow these 6 steps for a successful yearly performance review. First, exceed your manager expectations, embody operational excellence, and demonstrate a growth mindset. Second, fully understand your organization's annual review process. Third, identify the key decision makers involved in the process. Fourth, need to develop a strategic yearly performance review campaign. Fifth, need to craft your yearly performance review document in a Word or a PowerPoint format. And sixth, deliver your annual performance review effectively. Now let's dive into the details of each of the steps. First steps, exceeding your manager's expectations, embody operational excellence, and demonstrate a growth mindset. This is the baseline you must achieve before moving to the next steps. No matter what document or campaign you create for your annual performance review, if you don't over-deliver, fail to demonstrate a world-class operational excellence, and neglect self-improvement for both the present and the futures, the next steps won't help you at all. The second step is to fully understand your organization's annual review process. Here's what you need to find out: the timing and the structures. When does the review cycle start? Is it quarterly, mid-year, or annuals? When exactly the final decision meeting is happening inside your organizations? The evaluation criteria. What metrics are used for the performance evaluations? Is there any performance rating systems? Does your company use numerical ratings, ranking, or its feedback-based assessments? Compensation and career impact. How do the reviews influence salary increase, bonuses, and promotions? Company-specific processes. Is there any formal calibration sessions where managers benchmark your performance versus peers in your team and or other teams? Is there any company-specific forms or templates in your organizations for the annual performance review? Grade expectations in the performance evaluations. Does your organization assess the performance based on grade expectations, especially during the calibrations? For example, if Denis is a grade 21 but consistently perform at a grade 22 level, this may create an opportunity for me to have a promotions. You need to understand the full review process. It's essential to grasp how the process actually works. Does your manager present each individual from their team to the group conducting the annual review? Or is there a group discussions about every employee? Or there are discussions focused only on top and low performers, leaving the average rated employee out of the consideration and discussions? To fully understand how the annual review process works, you need to gather as many details as possible. Start by speaking with your managers, senior leaders, and HR representatives to gain insights. If you're not getting the answers you need, consider reaching out to individuals within your organizations who previously have been manager or even former manager who have left the company. They may be more open in sharing details about the process. Ultimately, it is essential for you to have a deep understanding of your organization's review process to navigate it effectively. The third step, identifying key decision makers in the annual performance review process. Not everyone evaluating you has the same level of influence, so it's crucial to understand who will be in the room when the managers make decisions during the annual performance review, and more importantly, who ultimately make the final call on the performance ratings and rewards. In most organizations, the key stakeholders typically include your managers peers, your managers' managers, and an HR representative. Your direct manager is the primary evaluator of your annual performance and one of the most influential voices in the assessments. In many organizations, they are responsible for presenting your performance review to the leadership group. However, relying solely on your manager to represent you can significantly reduce your chance of achieving a strong performance review outcome. Let me illustrate that with an example. Before I fully understood the process, I put a great effort in my work and carefully craft my annual performance review document, highlighting my achievements, and I deliver it to my boss, explaining that all my accomplishments, and I assumed that was enough. During the calibration sessions, where my manager discussed my performance with their peers and their own managers, it was entirely up to them to present my case. If they were not compelling or didn't strongly advocate for me, I was at a disadvantage. Even if they did a great job, if no one else in the room was familiar with my contributions, it was hard for me to secure a top rating because consensus was required in the rooms since few individuals achieved top performance. The lesson? You cannot leave it to your manager alone to represent you. You need to be actively involved throughout the years, ensuring that multiple stakeholders are aware of your achievements. I will explain how to do this shortly. Stay with me. Your manager's peers are the second most important group influencing your annual review. After your direct managers, these individuals must also support your case. Consider this: when your manager presents your performance, if none of their peers agree with him or her, your case is likely to fail. That's why keeping them informed about your contributions through the years is very important and crucial. Keep in mind, these managers are also presenting their top performers. Essentially, their team's best employees are competing against you. So having as many people advocating for you can make a huge difference in how your performance is perceived. Your manager's manager is the third most important but vital decision makers in the room. While they typically don't make the final call on your individual rating, they do approve the performance rankings and the calibrations. This person sees the big pictures, evaluating multiple peoples and teams within the organizations. Their primary concern is to ensure that the top performers across the group are at a similar level of achievements. That's why they need to know who you are and have a strong understanding of your contributions. If they don't, it becomes harder to justify you as the top performers in the review process. The peers and cross-functional teams. If your company uses 360-degree feedback, peer reviews may impact your final evaluations. While these reviews are not typically the biggest factor, a negative 360-degree evaluation raises red flag and can be a deal breaker when it comes to your recognition, promotions, and getting a raise. It's crucial to maintain a positive relationship with all the relevant stakeholders. Finally, HR and the talent management teams. Usually, they structure and oversee the review process, ensuring consistency and fairness. While they don't usually dictate the individual results, they play a key role in reminding all the decision makers about the performance review best practice and the company guidelines. The fourth step is developing a strategic yearly performance review campaign. To build a successful performance review strategy, I recommend that you follow these key steps. First, you need to identify all the stakeholders in the annual review process. The individuals involved typically include your managers' peers, your managers' managers, and an HR representatives. Understanding who will be making decisions ensures you that you can strategically engage with them throughout the year. 2, you need to maintain a quarterly check-ins at least once per quarter to proactively connect with the key stakeholders, not to brag about your accomplishments, but to seek guidance. Approach them just as you do with the tribe members. Request a 30-minute of their times. Leverage their experience to overcome challenges, get feedback on projects, review your career plan. These interactions provide valuable insights on your work while you're building a strong professional relationship. If someone doesn't know you, well, you can start by sharing your one-pager to establish emotional connections. This is critical in gaining their support during your performance evaluations. 3, integrate your work into the conversation. While you engage with the key stakeholders, find a natural way to highlight your current projects and contributions. The goal is not to force the discussion, but to ensure that they are aware of your work throughout the years. The next section, I will tell you what you need to highlight. 4 is after your initial conversation, you need to follow up and provide an update to them, exactly like you're doing with your tribe members, making sure that you talk with them at least once a quarter and they know all the project, all the initiative that you're working throughout the years. The goal of the yearly performance review campaign is very simple, is to ensure that the decision makers are aware of you, your contributions, and your value to the organizations. By proactively preparing throughout the years, you increase the likelihood that the key stakeholders will advocate for you and support your manager in presenting your case during the annual review discussions. Because no matter how strong your performance has been, failing to engage in this campaign can significantly reduce your chance of being recognized as a top performer. The step number 5 is crafting your yearly performance review document. This is a critical step to ensure a strong evaluations. One of the biggest mistakes I made early on was not taking notes or tracking key achievements throughout the years. Too often I found myself scrambling weeks before the review, trying to remember everything I had accomplished. which result in a poorly structured summary with missing details. To avoid this, make sure that you track and take notes during the years on everything that we'll talk below. So here's what I found to be the most effective approach in crafting my performance review. Check for a company template. Find out if your organizations provide a template for performance reviews. If a template exists, just ensure that they include the key element outlined below that we'll talk in a few seconds. If no template is provided, just use the following structure to build your document. For a Word document structures, the top section is your personal information. You need to include basic details to introduce yourself at a glance. Make sure that you include a photo of yourself, your name, your role, your grade, your time inside the organizations, your time in the current roles, and your time in the current grades. The body sections is for your performance and achievements. This section should highlight how you excel in key areas like, first, operational excellence, that you demonstrate how you maintain consistency in operational tasks. Things like be on time in report, expense submissions, meetings, and any other business critical tasks. And also the business impact and result that you had. Showcase how your contributions drove business success. You need to ensure that you deliver or exceed results to align with your manager expectation blueprint here. You need to write in a data-driven format using metrics such as demonstrated by X percentage, as measured by Y percentage, achieved by Z percentage growth. As an example, by focusing on customers and leveraging my ability to listen, I increased our revenue by 150% in 2025, outperforming competitors who experienced a 65% decline during the same periods. What this example demonstrates is alignment with the company core values, an effective use of my personal strengths, exceptional results that impact the organization while maintaining a competitive advantage. For the growth and transformation sections, can highlight how you have grown your role, the processes, or the business itself. You can use the same metric-based approach. As an example, teamwork has always been one of my core values. By leveraging my ability to teach, I co-host development sessions with peers to learn new coding language, which reduce the cross-team development time by 20%, resulting in on-time project delivery at a lower cost across multiple teams. The bottom section is your professional development, present and futures. The final section is about you, what development you have done. Use your development plan roadmap you did in the building block number 3. To excel in your current role, highlight ongoing growth. What have you done? To prepare for future roles, what are the development plan for your career progressions? What have you done? Now for a PowerPoint document structures. First is the title page that include your photo, your name, your role, and your grade. Make sure you include the time in the organizations, the time in your current roles, and the time in the current grade. After is your one-pagers. Third is your career development roadmap, show past, present, and future roles. Fourth is the performance to grade expectations. This slide is where you show your behaviors versus the grade that you have right now. In most organizations, you can get the descriptions of your behaviors you should have for the grade that you hold. The goal here is to show that you are already delivering on the grade expectations. If you're shooting for a promotion, you need to clearly highlight that you are already delivering and behaving as the grade you're looking for to be promoted. Fifth is 1 or 2 slides on the performance to highlight your operational excellence and the business impact and result that you have on the organizations and your teams. Follow the drive and grow transform models. And finally, 1 slide on your professional development, present and futures. You can use the development plan roadmap you did in the building block 3 to fill up these sections. The step number 6 is the delivery of your annual performance review. To achieve the optimal results, follow these steps. Schedule a dedicated 60-minute one-on-one meeting with your managers to review your performance review document in details. Please ensure that the meeting takes place well in advance of the calibration sessions so that you have time to make the necessary modifications and allow your manager to internalize all the informations. If you had a solid year, you need to be clear with your manager on your expectation from the annual performance review. That will put a little pressure on the organizations to recognize your achievement and that you are fully aware of your results and your values. Since you have now established the connection with all the key stakeholders involved in the calibration sessions, schedule a quick 30-minute discussion with each of them to gather feedback on your annual review document. Make sure that you arrange these meetings about a week before the calibration sessions so that your performance and contributions are still fresh in their mind when the final discussions take place. That's it. Following these 6 steps, first, exceeding your manager expectations, embodying operational excellence and demonstrate a growth mindset. Second, fully understand your organization's annual review process. Third, identifying the key decision makers involved in the process. Fourth, developing a strategic yearly performance review campaign. Fifth, crafting your yearly performance review document in a Word or PowerPoint document. And finally, 6, deliver your annual performance review effectively. Listen, gang, this approach should significantly increase your chance of receiving a very strong performance review. However, there's one thing you need to keep in mind is all of this assume that you constantly exceed expectations, you embody operational excellence, and you demonstrate growth mindset. Because no matter how well crafted your performance review document or your campaign is, if you don't check these 3 boxes, you won't be recognized as a top achiever. You absolutely need to deliver first. What I've shared with you today is the Performance Review 101. In the Module 4, coming later, A Rising Star is Born, I will dive into the Yearly Performance Review 202 to take you to the next levels. So please stay tuned. I want to say a big thank you. That was a big training, but a very important one. And I'll see you in the next sessions. Thank you.